Hi everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. Some of you might know me as DBVerse42. Like, subscribe, all of that. But what you guys probably don't know is how I became an exotic dancer. So today I'm here to tell you a wild story full of unexpected, crazy twists, friendships, breakups, financial struggles, a whole lot of self-discovery, and a whole lot more. Buckle up because I'm about to tell you the first time I became an exotic dancer and kind of what I went through and all things, all the mishaps and stuff like that. Okay, let's get into it. So, summer of 2022, I thought I was a very grown person. I was acting grown, doing grown things at the age of like 19, mind you. So I graduated summer of 2022, the beginning of 22. Well, I graduated like June of 2022. 19, I was living with my parents at first when I graduated, but me and my mom were kind of having mishaps and whatever. And so I moved in with my friend. We're not going to say names, but I moved in with my friend, and we became very close, which, like, I thought we were very close. And my friend and her family, I moved in with them. And, we lived together. We spent a lot of time with each other. I met her cousins. Her cousin is actually my best friend right now. 3-4 years going. So basically we didn't have no jobs, fresh out of high school, no experience, none of that. Summer 22 was basically drinking, smoking a lot of ganja, you know what I'm saying? Doing a lot. That was like my beginning of my adventures of an adult. And I thought I was living the life, whatever. I had no job, no financial anything, no income coming in. She didn't have anything. And then like towards September of that year, or towards the ending of August of that year into September, we were like, she drives, so she was driving around in her car, and we're like, well, we need a job, we're looking for jobs, we're job hunting. And we see this club, like literally next to a church, in the middle of God knows where, you know what I mean? We didn't know what it was, but we were interested, She was 18, I was 19, we were like, come on, let's go, fuck it. And she was like, she had to like convince me, because I wasn't really like, I didn't feel up to par to go in and really get this job and become a dancer or whatever. And I didn't know what came with the job, so I was very shy and things like that. So she just grabbed me out of the car and we went inside the club. Once we went inside the club, a person directed us to the manager, and the manager sat down with us. Mind you, this man was a midget. The manager was a midget. I was scared, okay? And like, I couldn't laugh. Like, I'm the type of person, you put me in a situation like things like that, like I will laugh. That's too funny for me. So now I have to be like mad professional and things like that. And she's kind of like leading this interview, because I wasn't really like, I was very shy. I was like, I didn't know what was to come. And he's telling us, well, like, okay, well, you have to pay this amount every time you come in. So it was like $20 fee every time you came in. Like, he was convincing us. He was trying to convince us so hard. Like, he was like, oh, well, you could make this amount of money on this day. Some days you won't make a lot of money, but some days you'll make a lot of money. And, I was like, okay, like money, like easy money. Like, that's easy money. I love easy money. Who doesn't love easy money? And so me and my friend, finally the interview is coming to an end, and he's explaining the rules. He's explaining what we have to wear. He's saying we have to wear heels. He's saying we have to get naked on stage. He's saying he'll give us 1 to 2 days to get naked on stage. And it's like, because it's a strip club, so you have to take off your clothes and things like that. So I wasn't really prepared for things like that. So it's not like I was just going into being a regular dancer and things like that. No, they threw me to the wolves. They threw us to the wolves. But she was like more ready for it than I was. So I was like, I was scared. Mind you, her parents did not know we were working here. They did not know. They thought we were working at Royal Farms. I don't know if you know what that is, but Royal Farms is like a Wawa, but you wouldn't find it up here in like North Jersey and things like that. You wouldn't find Royal Farms up here. You wouldn't find it by the beach. I don't think so. It's more like, it's like PA and things like that. That's where Royal Farms is at, near there. But we weren't in PA. We were like the border of. So next thing you know, the interview is over. He told us what we had to wear. We had to bring heels, and mind you, we didn't have heels because we didn't have any money. So he gave us like an old pair of heels that he had in the back or whatever, and we had to wear that. And mind you, we didn't know how to walk in heels or any of that. And we also had to wear outfits, like little sexy outfits, little bathing suits, whatever, things like that. Because, you know, although you're getting nude on stage, like, you still have to take things off. You still have to wear things, even when you're walking around talking to guys and things like that. So basically that was like the gist of it, the gist of the job. You know what I'm saying? And after that, we left, and he was like, okay, so come in on Friday. And so we told her parents we were working at Royal Farms. Mind you, the car had a tracker on it. She knew this though, so she was like always prepared for the worst. And so we started working at Royal Farms, and every day, the first day, we parked the car at Royal Farms, but we parked the car so far that we had to walk to the club, so her parents would think that we were working at Royal Farms. But we parked the car at Royal Farms, and I stood in the car. She went to the club. She went in first because I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it at first, and I was scared and I didn't know what to do. And she made, I'm gonna give you a sum amount. She made like 1,500, which is not bad at all. So, especially for your first day, 1,500, that's fucking amazing. And so the next day, I went in. And I was like, you know, I was feeling a little discouraged. I didn't really know what to do. And mind you, it was a Saturday. We worked the night shift from like 7 to 2. When I went in, it was a different, not saying that, I just didn't feel up to par. I guess my confidence wasn't there, like that level of I got this, like it wasn't there. So I didn't make as much money. I probably left with like $30. I think so. I think like $30. Mind you, I was there from 7 to 2. So I was definitely mad, but it was like, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this again. Like, she was the one who was really pushing. It was like, no, come on, we got this. Like, we'll go in next time together. And then next time came up, it was like a Wednesday or something. And I ended up making like 1,500. And it was always like a repetitive, like 1,500, 1,500. Like every time we went in, it was 1,500. Mind you, the guy gave us 2-3 days to take off our clothes and stuff like that. Well, when I went in the first day, I didn't really take off my clothes. She didn't take off her clothes either on the first day. But then he was like, okay, well, now you guys need to start taking off your clothes when you get on stage. And mind you, we didn't know pole tricks. We didn't know, I barely knew, like, we knew how to be sexy, you know what I mean? But other than that, like, he wasn't giving much. So we kind of like, we just winged it. It was all about winging. And then gradually I learned pole tricks. Gradually I learned how to seduce these guys. And like, that's really what it was, for real. That was like the whole gist of it. You just had to like seduce the guys out of their fucking pockets, literally. There's a lot of things working at a strip club or like fully nude club that coming in as a first timer, people don't know. Like, I don't know how to put this in a nice way, but you're gonna learn to push your limits. You're gonna learn what are your limits. You're gonna learn what fits me best. Even wearing clothes, like, even now being a dancer, I realized like there's a lot of things that I didn't have to do. A lot of things that people made me feel I had to do. Even my manager Mind you, this manager was a midget, and he would talk to us like we weren't nothing, like we were a piece of spit on the ground. That's how he would talk to us. And I remember, I don't know, I remember meeting a lot of girls there. A lot of the girls were nice. A lot of the girls were on drugs. A lot of the girls were drunks. A lot of the girls, and I wasn't like kind of used to that. Yeah, I smoked. Yeah, I drank, but I wasn't used to that type of like mentality. And honestly, I wish I never got used to it, because once that mentality came locked in to my head, like it, not that it became a problem, but it became something that I didn't want anymore. And then once I realized, like, you know, getting a boyfriend, having a man, things like that, once I realized how men look at you every time you're like, oh, I'm a dancer, or I'm a stripper, or something like that, or you say things like that, once I realized how people look at you, like, even girls, people judge so bad and so hard. And it's like, yeah, you could say, oh, they're mad because I'm making more money than them. Like, yeah, but like, that shit still hurts at the end of the day, whoever you are, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, stuff like that's always gonna hurt. So, you know, I kind of got used to it. I got used to the mentality. I got used to making a lot of money. Almost half the days I came home with $1,500. That's a lot of money. Like, imagine 3 days in 1 week. I made $1,500 each of those days. But every time I made $1,500, my manager would send me home. It could be 11 o'clock, and if by 11 o'clock I made $1,500, he would send me home, because he knows, like, there's certain girls that keep the money coming. Once you keep the money coming and you make a certain amount, they're watching your money. No matter what club you're in, no matter where you're at, someone will always watch your money. Someone will always be watching how much you make. Someone will always be jealous. Someone will always judge you. It's always going to be something. So I kind of like got like working there. Let me tell you a little bit more about working in this environment. You had to talk to men. A lot of men would come back for you. You know, you create regular customers. They had VIPs, they had dances, and stage. So the money you were making were stage tips, dancing in the back, VIPs in the back. So if you've ever been to a club, if you're mature enough to be in a club or in a club setting, you know what VIPs are, you know where dances are, and you know what the stages. Stages, you know, you get naked, you do your tricks. Mind you, I learned tricks as I went. I gained some muscle. I was able to do spins and drops and splits and all things like that. Still am. And so that stage money was good for me. I always loved my stage money. People throw ones. People slide you ones. You sit in front of somebody. You entertain them. That was the whole point of having a job like that. You was the entertainment. You was always the entertainment. So when it came to dances, depending on where you go, sometimes dances are $20, sometimes dances $15. You know what I mean? Sometimes the VIPs are more. The VIPs is like $125 for 15 minutes, or an hour, like $200, and then you get a percentage of that $200, and the club gets a percentage of that $200. So out of the $125 for 15 minutes, you would get $75, and the club would get the rest. I'm not really good at math, so whatever that is, add it up. Yeah, and then so in the VIP area, you do whatever you do. You do whatever you want to do. I made a lot of dumb decisions. I made a lot of dumb choices. I did a lot of dumb things, and you know, that's for me to answer to. And I was okay with that then. Now, would I ever be okay with it? No, never, because I have a lot of what's it called? More respect for myself than I did before. Before, people would treat me like trash, so I would act like trash, and that's bad. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that to yourself. But when you come to a certain age, and with age comes a lot of responsibility, a lot of learning yourself, and I learned, like, I didn't have to do too much for a guy to like me. I didn't have to do too much for a guy to pull out $1 in his pocket. I didn't have to do too much for a guy to give me $200. And you know what's crazy? Who taught me that? A lot of men in these clubs taught me that. Like, I really didn't have to do too much. Before, like, when I first started at the club, I used to have people take me out to the mall, buy me things like that, spend a lot of money on me. Like, it was that simple. It was that simple. You could look at a guy, like, it's easy for a woman to look at a guy and tell them, oh, buy me something. It's easy for us to do that to men. The other way around, not so sure. You know, I've heard male strippers, they do their thing. They actually work harder than us. I'm not gonna lie. I think I give a lot of respect to male strippers because they work harder than us. They have to learn routines, things like that. You know, it takes a lot of confidence for both, though. It takes a lot of confidence. It takes a lot of knowing yourself. It takes a lot of knowing your comfortability. Oh, let me get back to the VIPs. So VIPs, you know, you get a percentage, and the club gets a percentage, and then you get tipped inside the VIP. So whatever you and your little friend or male friend who came into the club to see you decide to do, then that's what y'all decide to do. A lot of rules we were told with this was don't ever take people outside the club because club money is club money. But at the same time, if you want to make your own bag, go make your own bag. That rule never made sense to me because, yes, keep your customers in the club, but if your customer is like, let's go get a drink, or let me spend money on you, let me take you to the mall, why would I say no? That used to be my mentality. So one day I learned why you should say no. And so let me tell you that story. So one day a customer took me out and I felt cool, whatever. I was on edge a little bit because customers are weird. Customers can be weird. Customers will be weird because you're a pretty girl. They're sitting in front of a pretty girl. They're old as hell, or there is something insecure about them. That's why they have to come to the club. A lot of these customers have wives. A lot of these customers have children. A lot of these customers have a whole nother life, but they want you. Why do they want you? You're pretty, young and dumb. You're young. Like, a lot of these, it comes down to the basics. You know, young, dumb, and pretty. Love it. It's all an act anyways. So that's what they think. Even if you're not dumb, if that's what they want to think, let them think that. And that's what you let them think so they can spend their money. One time a customer took me out and he thought I was young and dumb. And he took me out, you know, bought me food, things like that. We went to dinner and he basically tried to come up on me and kept sliding up on me, like touching me, things like that. Mind you, I'm not a very touchy person, which is crazy for working in a strip club because you get touched a lot. But if I feel uncomfortable, I'm gonna be like, get off of me. Like, I'm gonna tell you. And I ended up running. Mind you, we was like in a restaurant. I ended up running. He was gonna pay for the whole meal anyway, so it didn't bother me. I ended up running out the restaurant, whatever. I called my friend. She picked me up. Yeah, there's a little traumatizing moments when somebody doesn't stop touching you and you tell them to stop touching you and they don't. You're kind of like, I will punch you. But yeah, that's am I still dancing right now? I am. Well, not really. Yes and no. I don't really know how to answer that. Do I want to be dancing right now? I mean, the money's good. I'd like to bartend more. You know, I'm trying to get into that field more of. And yeah, that's pretty much the end of my story. If you guys have any questions or you guys have stories you want to tell me, like, comment, subscribe, all that. And thanks for coming.